Hello, my name is Pris from Prisperuses and welcome to another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about some of my favorite blue books. Why blue? Have you seen my channel art? Blue is my favorite color. It has been since the day I was born. We are going to be talking about books that I love that have the color blue very prominent on the cover. Shout out to my girl Jade from Jade Legacy because she actually gave me the idea. And yeah, let's dive into some blue books. First up is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is not the standard edition, this is the Forbidden Planet edition, which is absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, it is black and blue and has these gorgeous blue sprayed edges as well. And also underneath the dust jacket, it has blue Addie. I've already talked about this book many times. It is my favorite book of all time. This is about a girl named Addie, and she makes a deal with the devil, and after that nobody seems to remember her. As soon as a door closes, people forget her, which makes her life very, very difficult indeed. This is such a beautiful book and I highly, highly recommend. It is my favorite book of all time. For me, it is very much a love letter about life, about music, art, food, all the things that you can love in life. And it had a huge impact on me and my life. Next up is a book that I read very recently, which is Jade Legacy. This is the conclusion in the Greenbone Saga trilogy, and oh boy, this was absolutely fantastic. I fell in love with this series from page one. This is about an Asian-inspired world where Jade has magical powers and the Greenbones in this world can wield magic. There are two clans, the No Peak clan and the Mountain clan, who are at odds with each other, and when a new drug comes up the market that makes everybody able to wield Jade, shit hits the fan. This was fantastic. This is also my favorite book in the series, and I think I just sobbed for 3 days straight after I read this. It was incredible. It was so good and I highly, highly recommend. Next up is Frostheart by Jamie Littler. How could I not include this? This is my dear friend Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin favorite book of all time. And I must say, it does not disappoint whatsoever. This is all about our little hero Ash, who turns out to be a song weaver. He can communicate with the Leviathans. But this is not a good thing in his world because people are scared that Ash will be manipulated by the Leviathans, which they see as their enemies. This is a trilogy. This is the first book in the trilogy. And Ash is exiled from his village and he ends up on the Frostheart and the Frostheart crew, which is an incredible crew. It is set in this very, very icy world, but honestly, it just warms my heart. Next up is one of my favorite middle grades of all time, which is The Girl Who Speaks Bear by Sophie Anderson. This is incredible. It's all about a girl that one day wakes up with bare legs. And she goes on this magical, whimsical quest to find out more about herself and her past. And she hopes to find answers in a forest that seems to be calling her. This is incredible. It has stories within the stories. This was so cleverly done. All the little stories in between make sense to the main story. And on her journey, she finds so many incredible friends. And honestly, I read this in one sitting and it was absolutely fantastic. Next up, I am cheating only a slightly bit, but we have Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. As you can see, there is some blue on this cover, but we all know and love the UK cover, which is entirely blue. This follows Laszlo, who is a junior librarian, and he's obsessed with this lost city of Weep. Then one day, this man appears and takes him with him on a quest to Weep to find out answers about this long lost city. This book is incredible. It is so whimsical and lyrical, and I loved every single page of it. This made me fall in love with Lady Taylor's writing. It is honestly just fantastic, and I loved every single bit of it. Next up, we have Nightfall in the Keeper of the Lost City series. How could I not include a Keeper's book if it is this blue? I'm sorry. You all know that I absolutely adore this series. This is book 6 in the Keeper of the Lost City series. And this is all about a girl named Sophie who is whisked away to this elfish world. And after she's been told that she's not human but she's elf. And when she enters this new world, all things go down. And we get like so many twists and turns. And honestly, I fell in love with the world. I fell in love with the characters. And this is my absolute favorite middle grade series of all time. Next up is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas. Do I need to explain any further? I don't think I have to. I know many of you absolutely love the book in the ACOTAR series, and I am no exception. I think this book was incredible. It was so good. And the story is all about Feyre, who get whisked away to another world where she meets this guy that is under influence of some curse. And when she enters this new world, like all things go down, and the twists and turns in this one and how Feyre's story changes in this one is just honestly incredible. And yeah, I just love this with every bone in my body. Next up is a book that I also read very recently, which is Starfall. This was incredible. It is a very dark blue, as you can see, but it has got blue sprayed edges, so I'm counting it. This is all about a girl called Willow. In her world, she is able to find lost things, but it's not very flashy, it's not very important ability. So she's been looked upon her entire life. That is until last Tuesday goes missing, and Willow seems to be the only person who can save the world. This was honestly incredible, and together with Nevermore and Keeper of the Lost Cities, this is now in my top 3 favorite middle grades of all time. Speaking about Nevermore, of course I had to include this book as well. This is just an incredible series that I adore with every fiber of my being. This is all about Morrigan Crow, who is destined to die on her 11th birthday. But instead of dying on her 11th birthday, she gets whisked away to another world by this very eccentric man called Jupiter North. When she enters this world, she must compete in the trials to become a member of the Wondrous Society. Honestly, this is incredible. This book features trials, which is one of my favorite tropes in fantasy. The Nevermore world is incredible, and Morrigan Crow as a main character is an absolute delight. Next up is another middle grade that I read very recently, and it is Amari and the Night Brothers. Honestly, this was just fantastic. 5 stars all the way. This follows a girl called Amari. Her brother goes missing, and one day a mysterious suitcase ends up at her door, and she gets called upon the sort of underworld, which is an organization that trains people to fight supernatural beings. It is Nevermore meets Men in Black, and it was honestly so good. This book also features trials, which I already said is one of my favorite tropes, especially in middle grade, especially in fantasy. And it was such a good time reading this. Next up, we have a book that is really out of my comfort zone, but I nonetheless gave it 5 stars, and that is Actor H. Eve Brown. The Brown Sister series is just incredible. Even if you don't like romance and you don't gravitate towards it, I highly recommend picking this up. This series is so funny, it is so witty, it is so sexy. It has all the elements to just make you laugh like no tomorrow. And boy, did I do that. This is the last one in the series, which features the youngest sister, Eve Brown. This was also my favorite in the series because I love Eve as a character. She is so chaotic, she's all over the place. And when she meets this very uptight guy, Jacob, shit hits the fan, basically. After she accidentally injures him, she is set up on helping him with his B&B. And honestly, the relationship between the two of them grows and develops, and it was fantastic reading this. So good. The next book is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I've already talked about this book on my channel. This is also a little bit out of my comfort zone because it is historical fiction. This is all about two sisters that we follow during World War II and the things they do for their community, their world, their people. This is incredible. It is very, very hard-hitting, but it is an incredible story. It made me feel very proud to read about what the women did during the war because it's often forgotten about. And I highly, highly recommend that you pick this up. Then we have the very last blue book that I loved, which was truly Devious. This is all about a girl called Stevie Bell who is obsessed with true crime. When she gets accepted to this very prestigious academy, she is set upon solving the crime that involves this academy. This academy has a lot of history. In the past, the founder, his wife and daughter were kidnapped, and the mystery around that was never solved. Stevie is set upon to solving this ancient mystery and gets herself in a lot of trouble for it. Those were all the blue books that I loved. Let me know if you have read any of these. Let me know down below in the comments. Do you have any blue books that you love yourself? Please let me know. I would love to hear all about it. If you have liked this video, could you please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for all your continued support, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye!